Welcome, welcome. Let's dive right in.
The pipes in apartment 4B rattled every night at exactly 10:30 p.m. It was rhythmic at first, a dull, metallic knocking, like an old radiator warming up. But then came the rush of water, the constant, roaring stream that lasted far too long. Not 10 minutes. Not 20. No, it went on for 30 minutes, sometimes even an hour. Aaron lived in 4C, right next to the culprit. He had long since given up on going to bed early. It was the shower. That goddamn shower. What the hell is this dude doing in there? He muttered one night, slamming his pillow over his ears. But it didn't help. The water surged through the pipes with the force of a tsunami. At first, Aaron chalked it up to normal city living. People had weird habits. Maybe the guy was deep conditioning his hair or exfoliating aggressively. But the water bill for the building had gone up mysteriously, and Mrs. O'Donnell from 4A had started making snide comments about water wasters. One night, after a few too many beers, Aaron made a decision. He was going to find out what was happening in 4B. It started with an innocent knock. No answer. A firmer knock. Still nothing. Then, against his better judgment, Aaron leaned in and tried the doorknob. Locked, of course. But as he stepped back, he noticed something odd. Steam was curling out from under the door. A lot of it. Way more than a normal shower should produce. It snaked along the floor like ghostly fingers, slipping through the cracks and dispersing into the hallway. Aaron crouched down and put his hand near the door. The wood was warm. Not just warm, hot. His stomach twisted. What the hell is going on in there? Then, as suddenly as it started, the shower shut off. Silence filled the air. Aaron scrambled back to his apartment. He didn't want to be caught snooping, but as he shut his door and peered through the peephole, he saw something strange. The steam from 4B didn't dissipate. It lingered in the hallway, swirling unnaturally, like it was alive. Aaron became obsessed. During the day, he watched 4B's tenant come and go. The guy was normal-looking, maybe late 30s, tall, thin, dark hair. Always wore the same ratty hoodie. Never made eye contact with neighbors. Aaron started calling him shower guy in his head. He tried bringing it up casually in conversation. "You ever hear the pipes go crazy at night?" he asked Mrs. O'Donnell one morning in the lobby. "Oh, it's that fella in 4B, she huffed. "Always wasting water. I told the landlord, but you know how he is." Aaron did know. Their landlord, Greg, didn't care about anything as long as the rent got paid. So, Aaron did the only thing he could think of. He waited. That night, at exactly 10:30, the shower started again. Aaron pressed his ear to the wall. He expected the usual rush of water. But this time, he heard something else. A voice. No, multiple voices. Whispering. Aaron's blood turned to ice. He strained to listen, his heart hammering. It wasn't just one person in there. It sounded like a group. The whispers were overlapping, urgent, but he couldn't make out words. What the hell? Suddenly, there was a loud thud. Something heavy had hit the floor. Aaron stumbled back from the wall, heart pounding. He had to know. He had to see. He grabbed his phone and texted his best friend, Mark. "Aaron, bro, I think my neighbor is up to something weird. Like, cult weird." Mark, LOL what? "Aaron, I swear to God, there's like voices. In his bathroom." Mark, "Dude, it's 10:45. Why are you listening to your neighbor in the shower?" Aaron rolled his eyes. Mark wasn't going to be any help. Screw it. He was going to see for himself. He grabbed his spare key. It wasn't a key to 4B, but it was close. A while back, Greg had given Aaron a handful of spare keys to check on the mailroom after someone broke the lock. He never gave them back. Now he was glad he hadn't. Holding his breath, Aaron crept out of his apartment and slid a key into 4B's lock. It turned. Click. The door creaked open. Steam billowed out in thick waves, so dense Aaron could barely see. The air smelled strange, like wet earth and something metallic. And then, through the haze, he saw a figure, standing in the middle of the bathroom, staring right at him. Aaron froze. The man in 4B, shower guy, was standing in the steam, completely still. His eyes were wide, unblinking. His skin glistened with moisture, but his clothes were dry. Behind him, the bathroom was wrong. The tiles on the floor had cracked, revealing something dark underneath. The mirror was fogged over, but shapes twisted beneath the condensation. Shapes that didn't belong in a reflection. And the voices, oh God, the voices were louder now. Aaron wanted to run, but his legs felt like lead. "Why are you here?" the man asked, his voice eerily calm. Aaron swallowed. I heard the shower. Shower guy tilted his head. You shouldn't have come. The steam thickened. Aaron's vision blurred. His lungs burned. Was it getting hotter? And then he saw it. Through the swirling mist, something moved behind shower guy. Long, thin fingers pressed against the mirror from the inside. A mouth formed in the condensation, whispering something ancient, something hungry. Aaron stumbled back. His brain screamed run, but before he could turn, shower guy moved. One moment, he was standing still. The next, he was inches away. His hand shot out, gripping Aaron's wrist. His fingers were impossibly cold, despite the heat. You shouldn't have come, he repeated. The steam curled around Aaron, wrapping around his arms, his throat. The voices reached a fever pitch. And then, the lights flickered. The light in the bathroom flickered, buzzing with an eerie hum. For a split second, everything turned dark, just long enough for Aaron's stomach to drop. And then, the glow returned, casting long, twisting shadows along the bathroom walls. Shower guy hadn't let go of Aaron's wrist. His grip was ice cold, his fingers unnaturally long. The steam swirled around them, moving with purpose, as if it had a mind of its own. Aaron tried to yank his arm back. Let go, man, he gasped. I didn't see anything. Shower guy's lips barely moved when he spoke. It's not about seeing. His grip tightened. It's about knowing. A shape shifted in the mirror. Aaron's breath hitched. Something was inside the glass. It was more than just a foggy reflection. There were hands pressing against the inside, palms flat against the glass, as if trying to push through. The mirror bulged, stretching like a thin layer of ice ready to crack. Aaron's pulse pounded in his ears. Who's in there? Shower guy didn't answer. He only tilted his head slightly, like he was listening to something unseen. Then he smiled. The steam curled around Aaron's ankles. It was pulling him in. He panicked. With all his strength, he twisted out of the man's grasp and stumbled backward, his heel catching on the warped bathroom tiles. He fell hard, his back slamming against the hallway floor. The moment he hit the ground, the air changed. The heat vanished. The steam stopped moving. The lights flickered again, once, twice, before settling. When Aaron looked back through the open doorway, the bathroom was normal. No cracked tiles, no bulging mirror, no grasping hands. Just a regular shower, with water still trickling down the drain. Shower guy stood in the middle of it all, staring at Aaron with an expression that almost looked disappointed. You shouldn't have come, he said one last time. Aaron scrambled to his feet and bolted. Aaron locked his apartment door behind him, chest heaving. His hands were shaking. What the hell just happened? It didn't make sense. He had seen it, felt it. The steam had been alive, the mirror had been wrong, and there had been something else in there. But now it was just a guy taking a long-ass shower. Aaron sat on his couch, trying to catch his breath. His phone buzzed next to him, startling him out of his daze. Mark, yo, you good? Mark, bro, it's been like 30 minutes. Mark, did you actually go in? Aaron hesitated before replying. Aaron, yeah? Something's wrong with that guy, man. I don't even know how to explain it. The 3 dots popped up immediately. Mark, explain anyway. So Aaron did. He told Mark everything. About the steam, the voices, the mirror, the thing pressing against the glass. He expected Mark to send back a string of LMAO messages, calling him an idiot for drinking too much. But instead, after a long pause, Mark replied with a single message. Mark, get out of your apartment. Now. Aaron frowned. Aaron. Mark, I'm serious. Go outside. Aaron's stomach twisted. He suddenly felt watched, like something was standing right behind him. Slowly, he turned to look toward his bathroom. The door was slightly ajar, and steam was curling out from under it. Aaron's throat tightened as he stared at the steam creeping from his own bathroom. No. That wasn't possible. He hadn't even turned on the shower. His phone buzzed again. Mark, Aaron, get out. Aaron stood on shaky legs, inching toward the door. His body screamed at him to run, but something held him in place, something cold and damp in the air, pressing against his skin like unseen fingers. The bathroom door creaked open another inch. And then he heard it. A soft tap, tap, tap against the mirror. The same sound he'd heard in 4B. A quiet breath escaped him. He knew that if he looked, he wouldn't see his reflection. He'd see them, the things from 4B's mirror. The whispering started again. Low, urgent. almost pleading. Aaron clenched his jaw and forced himself to move. He grabbed his keys and bolted for the front door, yanking it open so hard it slammed against the wall. He didn't care. He ran down the hallway, nearly tripping over his own feet, and burst through the exit into the cold night air. His lungs burned as he gulped in fresh oxygen. His hands were still shaking. His phone buzzed. "Mark, where are you?" "Aaron, outside. Parking lot." A moment later, a new message popped up. "Mark, stay there." Aaron barely had time to process before a car screeched into the lot. "Mark." He threw open the passenger door. "What the hell happened?" Mark demanded, his eyes wide. Aaron could barely find words. "The steam, my bathroom." "Mark, it's in my apartment now." Mark swore under his breath and hit the gas. They drove in silence for a while, Aaron trying to steady his breathing, Mark gripping the wheel too tight. Finally, Mark spoke. "I looked into it, man. That apartment? For B? It's not normal." Aaron shot him a look. "What do you mean?" Mark's jaw tightened. "I found something. News articles, old forum posts." "Dude, this has happened before." Aaron's stomach dropped. Mark kept going. "Years ago, there was this guy, lived in 4B. Same weird shower habits. Neighbors complained about steam and noises, just like you said." He hesitated. Then he disappeared. Aaron stiffened. Cops found his apartment locked from the inside. Shower still running. But no body. No signs of struggle. Just steam. Aaron's hands felt clammy. And no one, he swallowed. No one found out what happened. Mark exhaled sharply. The weird part. The guy before him, same thing. Tenant just vanished. Aaron felt like he was going to be sick. It wasn't just this guy in 4B. It had been happening for years. The steam. The voices. The thing in the mirror. "Oh, and one more thing," Mark said darkly. "When they rent the apartment out again, they never change the shower." Aaron's mind reeled. It wasn't him they were after. It was whoever lived in 4B. Mark drove them to his place, a small one-bedroom on the other side of town. It felt safer, but Aaron couldn't shake the feeling that something had followed him. "You can crash here," Mark said. "We'll figure out what to do about your place later." Aaron nodded numbly. He didn't know what figuring it out even meant. He wasn't going back there. Not with that thing waiting. Sleep didn't come easy that night. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the steam creeping under his door, the whispering, the mirror bending under unseen hands. At some point, exhaustion won. His body gave in, pulling him into a restless sleep. Then, drip. Aaron's eyes snapped open. Drip, drip. His stomach turned to stone. He turned his head, heart pounding. A thin mist was curling along the edges of Mark's bathroom door. Something tapped against the mirror inside. Once, twice. Then, through the heavy silence, a voice whispered, soft, wet, hungry. "You shouldn't have come."